And, amidst all your writing and, all kind of this year and kind of the chaos that was, 2020, how do you stay grounded, with all these projects and
Hmm.
how do you, stay grounded for yourself?
Well, that's assuming that I've stayed grounded. um, I mean, it's you, life has a way of humbling you. Every day, especially if you're paying attention to things around you. There's always people around you. You never know what they're going through. Anybody, and sometimes you'll get windows into people around you, the challenges they may be experiencing. And a lot of times I think that helps to add perspective to whatever challenges you're going through. There's always someone who has it, in theory worse, than you may have it. So I try to stay open to that at all times. Is if there's a tough situation or a tough day or challenge, think about it from the point of view of someone who doesn't have even the resources that I have or the opportunities that I have, and kind of has a way really quickly of diminishing, whatever thing that I thought was a big deal. Staying grounded to me is staying connected to, the world, whether it's to nature, to other human beings, just not getting so caught up in myself and the things that I feel are paramount to the world, and understanding at all times. I'm a parent, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, I'm a brother. I always try to keep in mind, I made peace in a larger, you know, tapestry, and so considering that can be very humbling a lot of times in a good way. Just don't get. I try not to get to take myself too seriously and try not to get caught up too much and what's going on. That said, it's easier said than done, you know. But that's always the attempt on a daily basis with every project I work on is, at the end of the day, try to maximize whatever I'm doing. But at the same time, um, just remember context, again, for why you're doing it, and also at the end of the day for the larger elements that surround you.
I totally think we all kind of need to take ourselves less seriously and know that we're kind of a part of a whole rather, especially after this year. I feel like it's really important to know what the essential things in life are, especially
Yeah.
this year. That's good
Yeah.
advice. Speaking of kind of more advice for young people that kind of want to enter the industry, what would you say to them? Especially if they want to be writers or eventually showrunners. What would you say?
I mean, there's certain things that I'm sure people have heard before. Work on your craft. I would say definitely love your craft for sure. And then also embrace the journey. They're definitely going to be most likely more no's than yeses. You're going to get in this business, in the entertainment business, you're going to get more rejection than you are triumphs. And, I would, try to look at it as not taking it personally, but look at it as part of the journey. Every no, as far as I'm concerned, is a lesson. What can I learn from this situation? Sometimes it can be based on execution, personal execution. How can I execute better? But it's not always that. Sometimes you can execute to the best of your abilities and still get a no. Whether it's from a job opportunity or a competition or just feedback, where someone just didn't respond to whatever you're doing. Look at it as an opportunity to grow. What about that situation can make you better? What can you pick up? Is it, if it's not execution based, was it the context under which you presented it? Or was it the climate? Were there elements bigger than you that you just had no control over and you have to learn how to deal with them? Starting off, it's really, really tempting to take everything deeply personal. The business just doesn't like me or doesn't like my whatever I do. Um, or I'm just not good enough, or that kind of doubt that creeps in for some people. And I would encourage you not to take things as personal as you might be tempted to. It's there's always a personal element. You want to keep that because you want to care about the things that you do, but look at it as part of the process. It's kind of like gaining, stars in a way. I think there's a saying that a mentor of mine told me. It's like, you really haven't worked in Hollywood until you've been fired at least once. Um, and that's true, in meaning like you substitute the word firing for rejected, and just understand that that's part of the process. I would also say that another thing that I think is good to keep in mind is like no matter who you are, the struggle continues every step of the way on every level of a career. You could be the top director in Hollywood, or the top writer, or the top showrunner, or the top producer, and there's always going to be challenges and doubts and people comparing you to others, and the business trying to say this is why you can't do this or you can't do that, or pick your name, the biggest names, and they'll be able to tell you the project that they or projects that they've been frustrated trying to get off the ground. It does not matter who they are. So it's embrace the process. It's all part of it. It will never end. Even if you won 10 Oscars and however many Emmys or whatever, it's still going to be at that point, well, the person's too old, or the person, they've always done drama but they've never done comedy, or the person, their last hit was 3 years ago and now they can't do it, and that's at the very top of the food chain. So just the sooner you embrace the idea that there's always going to be doubts and challenges, the better, and learn from those challenges.
Definitely important advice, especially for young people and young people like myself too that are entering the industry as well. Another question I had, at Hollywood.com, we kind of like to focus on the good in Hollywood. And I was wondering if there's any good you've seen in the industry that kind of gives you hope for the future of Hollywood.
That's a refreshing question. Yeah, there's so much. There's a healthy level of cynicism and jadedness for sure. I'm an optimist, so I see a lot of hope. I see hope every day. I see hope anytime anyone decides to try and write a new script. That's hope. They're hoping that it's going to be good. There's hope when you take out a pitch. I think one of the great things about our business is that it tends to collect the dreamers from different areas. The people who were the creative dreamers in your community, in your high school, whatever. Those are the people that tend to try out their hand at some point in this crazy business. That's all hope. That's all built on the hope that you can actually do this and get paid to do it. So I find a tremendous amount of hope, actually. A part of the challenge is continuing to keep that hope. Fight and protect that hope. It's a precious thing. Not everybody has that in the world. Not everybody has that. So I'm always encouraged. Anytime I see, passion for a project, for any type of project, even if it's not a premise that I would necessarily come up with, if a person has passion for it, I think I'm not alone in saying that a lot of people are going to respond to that passion. They talk about when, a pitch is bought, a lot of times it's really more about the person, that your passion for that particular premise, as much as it is about the premise itself. A lot of times more so. So, seeing that energy, um, and that's, it can be intoxicating, and also I think very, influential. It is something that's contagious is the word I'm looking for. That when you carry yourself in a way where you hope to do great things, people tend to respond to that.
That's great to hear because as seeing the industry, I think it's heading in the right direction. It'll definitely take, a lot of work, but I think there's a lot of optimism there.
Definitely, definitely. And I think coming out of this past year too, it's a bit of a clean slate in that, we have conversations we haven't had before. I think there's a new frontier as far as how stories are being told. We're still in the midst of, even the way product and material is brought to the audiences with streaming and, other devices. I think there's a tremendous opportunity right now. There's no better time. There has never been a better time to enter the industry than now, because there's so many different ways to tell stories, and so many different outlets and avenues to do it through. So it's a very, I think, hopeful, energetic, great time, and I think it'll only increase as we continue to determine this new normal regarding the pandemic.
Yeah. And speaking of all this optimism, what's next for you?
Well, I'm very excited. I've had several ideas and things that I've wanted to get off the ground and look forward to developing. Um, there are specifics I can't go into just yet because there are things pending on my what my next situation looks to be. But I would say this: that idea of passion, that idea of being excited, about telling stories. I have that, right now, and there are several things that I'm really really looking forward to, with the idea again of entertaining and also engaging audiences. And so you can rest assured that the things that I'm looking to do will carry through on that idea. Both of those being paramount, and with an international stage, I'm excited about the possibilities.